Red, White, Blue, and You. Stories about America for all Americans.
Welcome to Red, White, Blue, and You. I'm your host, Jane Hampton Cook. This episode is called What's in a Name? And I wanted to talk about this issue of cancel culture. We live in a society right now where people with different points of view are being canceled by big tech companies, media companies, film companies. For example, Gina Carano, the actor in the Star Wars series The Mandalorian, was recently canceled and fired because her employer disagreed with her political points of view that she had expressed in social media. Political viewpoint discrimination needs to end in our country, and we need to return to a state of tolerance for different points of view. Fortunately, Ben Shapiro at the Daily Wire has partnered with Gina Carano to make a movie, and so that's the way you cancel culture. You uncancel it. But I thought what it would be insightful is if we talked a little bit about the origins of free speech. And one of the questions I had was, why did our founders use nicknames when publishing newspaper articles? Ben Franklin famously used the nickname Silence Dogood to write an article about free speech because his brother was in jail for publishing a newspaper without a license from the government. So Franklin, fear kept him from using his real name, lest he be put in jail. Franklin's point of view was that you couldn't, as a publisher, you weren't responsible for the truth, but you needed to put forward different viewpoints and let the reader figure out what they believe to be the truth. I think some big tech companies could learn from Ben Franklin's example on that. But even during the American Revolution, you had Samuel Adams, for example, ran a Boston newspaper. He didn't use his name very often on newspaper articles. He used the name Candidus or other names to portray his ideas. And the reason why he did that was that he was, under the spotlight of the British authorities. And he knew, that his home could be attacked. He knew that he was a target. And that's why he used anonymous names or nicknames. But even after we won the War of Independence from England, we still had this practice of using nicknames. Alexander Hamilton was Publius when he published these newspaper articles we now know as the Federalist Papers. So he was using a nickname to help advocate for Americans to adopt the U.S. Constitution. And then even during George Washington's presidency, after the Bill of Rights was passed and free speech was put into the First Amendment and was protected by the Constitution, there was still this practice of using nicknames. In fact, it became a guessing game in the nation's capital city of who wrote that op-ed. Was it John Adams? Was it Thomas Jefferson? Was it James Madison? There was a guessing game often about the author of certain newspaper articles. So it kind of became a habit, but over time, that habit died away. And people forthrightly put their names with their thoughts. And that became the practice in America for decades. And now we're retreating into this world where people don't have the freedom culturally to put forward their ideas for fear that a big tech company will close their account, will prevent them from conducting their business on social media. And we need to get back to a tolerance of differences of opinion. And we are losing that very, very quickly. And so I hope you'll just know and think about, hey, we didn't start out with free speech. People couldn't use their names, and we need to allow them to use their names and to present information and facts and ideas and opinions. Because as Ben Franklin well knew, once you allow people the freedom to put forward different points of view, you could better get to the truth of the matter of something if you had that freedom. So when you don't have freedom of speech, when you have cancel culture, the truth is suppressed and truth is no longer free. And so I think that we need to just think about that. I'm Jane Hampton Cook. Check out janecook.com. Check out my books on amazon.com and other places where books are sold. And I hope to see you next time on Red, White, Blue, and You.